my husband said, well, that looks like a bra. And it certainly kind of does at this point in time. Hello and welcome back to No, It's Crochet. And my name is Nicole, if you don't know me and haven't been around for a while. We have a lot of new viewers, so I just wanted to give you that quick little update. And jump right in with this week's vibe. It has been a lot like, crocheting a granny square, and it didn't quite turn out the way you wanted it to, but it's still kind of cute anyway. I mean, yeah, I'll go with that. So, how was your vibe this week? I would love to hear from you. The community chat has been getting quite active, which I love, love, love. So, we are going to be just thriving on that. In fact, I'm going to start featuring a comment from one of you each and every week. And this week, it was a comment on what was that? That was called, I have to remember, The Truth About Online Crochet Communities video. And Jessica Artist 7752 said, I have a mixed feeling on a favorite crochet group. I have a few that I peek here and there, and I think she means peek by looking at, not like peeks, but by peek into, but do not communicate much. I do like Ravelry for the awesome patterns and yarn information. So let me know if you have a favorite community or if you've checked out that video. I would love to hear from you on that. Next up, we are talking about the Yarny news and updates. And this may not be a surprise to some of you, but I discovered this week that Hobbii, the really super popular yarn site, the Hobbii from Denmark, they white label a lot of their yarn. Now, I sort of knew this intuitively because they have a lot of branded yarns, but I don't know if I just never looked into it or what the deal is, but I did actually stumble across a post talking about my new favorite yarn, which is the Hobbii Rococo linen. And somebody let me know that, or let them know in this particular chat, that yarn is actually the exact same yarn as Yarn Art's Linen Soft. So I thought, let me go take a look. And not only is it like the exact same yarn, so all of the Hobbii colorways are available as Yarn Art's Linen Soft, but it's actually significantly cheaper with one caveat. So Hobbii generally charges at retail either $13 or $14, depending on whether or not it's the solid or the multi-colorway. And yes, they do offer sales, but even the sale prices are generally either $8 or $9, again, depending on if it's a solid or a color, multicolor. The yarn art generally is available at a standard sort of $7. And these are the exact same skeins. So literally, they took the label off of one and slapped on a different label to get there and, called it Rococo. And so it is identical in every way other than the label. So you have a standard price for, I found it as low as $4.50 and as high as $7, or well, actually, I did find some that were like $11.25 on like Walmart.com of all places. But then you have to factor shipping in. And the one that was on for $4.50, that was an Etsy website, and shipping was $8 per skein. So now all of a sudden you are right back to what the discount price is, and even a little bit more. So that wasn't a deal. Most of the yarn art is sold in Europe, which is fabulous for those of you Europeans that are watching. You get that benefit. those of us in the United States, which is the vast majority of my viewers, there is not a lot of places to get yarn art locally, so, or even within the state. And now that the tariffs are going to be kicking in, a lot of the sites that I found it are saying they are going to start charging an additional percentage to ship to the United States to cover those tariffs. So we're not going to get into the politics. If you decide to do something about the politics in the comments below, I'm going to delete it. So that's just not the road that I want to go down on this particular podcast, videocast, video series, YouTube channel, whatever you want to call it. But it is going to affect, to some extent, our ability to buy some of these yarns at the same price that we have come to expect to buy them at. Now, hopefully what that means is that there will be a U.S. person or company that decides that they want to buy up a lot of these yarns and start selling them either online or locally, and that means that we can actually take advantage of some of these low prices without paying the extra tariff fees and all that kind of good stuff. I have no idea if that's ever going to be a thing. A girl can dream. Who knows? So, I know that the Rococo linen is the exact same as the Yarn Arts Linen Soft, and I also discovered that the Hobbii Twister is the same as Yarn Arts Flower. Now, if you thought the price difference for the Rococo was significant, the Hobbii Twister is $38 for a cake, and the Yarn Arts Flowers is $16. And the Yarn Arts Flowers is actually very readily available. It is even on Amazon right now for like $13.99. So significantly cheaper to buy the exact same yarn when you're not getting it from Hobbii. Now, I'm a girl that loves a good sale. I'm the kind that goes to Hobby Lobby on the alternating weeks to take advantage of the 30% off or whatever special. I don't buy when it's not on sale, so I generally tend to buy Hobbii only when it is on sale. But still, I mean, even the Twister at 50% off is still higher than the Yarn Arts Flowers. So, here's a little tip for you that you can take advantage of. If you're not sure whether or not the yarn you're using is white labeled, meaning that there might be a cheaper brand selling the exact same yarn, go to the website yarnsub.com. This website's fabulous. I'll link to a video that I talk about this a little bit more in detail, but this is a great website for finding yarns that are comparable to one that a designer used that's maybe discontinued, or, whatever the case may be. And type in the yarn that you're looking at. So if I type in Rococo linen, it comes up and it shows me the Hobbii. I select that. It shows me all the yarns that are similar to that yarn. Now, if Yarn Sub says that there is a yarn that matches 99%, you can bet your bottom dollar that that is a white labeled yarn. It is going to be the same yarn that you're looking up, only with a different brand name. So then you can go shopping and see whether or not you can get that other comparable yarn for a lesser price than your favorite yarn. You might save a few dollars, who knows? Okay. Today I am just drinking water. I have not been hydrating enough lately, and my body keeps trying to tell me that, and I keep forgetting. So hello, girl, it's time to hydrate. Let's talk about WIPS. It's the WIPS segment. Now, I am still working on the Southwest Denim remake, and I will show you. Here is my bag. Here's the jacket, of course, that I'm doing that with. I still have the one sleeve. I have not decided, because this sleeve is shorter and I do not have enough to do any more rounds. So I haven't quite decided what I'm going to do at the bottom yet, but I have started working on the second sleeve, which is new from last week. This is not going to, it's got a handle. So I've gotten this far on this. This one, this version of the yarn, well, on that side it looks red. On that side it looks a little too blue. So I guess it'll work out in the end. Fingers crossed. Anyway, I think once I get down to the same place, then I can kind of decide, do I want to go get another skein of the Dakota? The I Love This Yarn Dakota is the yarn that I'm using for this. It's an all acrylic, but it actually, because it's I Love This Yarn, it has a little bit of a softer feel to it. I don't know that I want to buy a whole nother skein just to use a smidge of it. So I might buy like a complementary brown or, maybe the red. I'm kind of digging this red. So maybe I'll find a red that is very similar. That way I can just use that much and I can reuse that red or the brown for something else because it's a little bit less specific. So we'll go with that, specific. Now, I certainly could add some embellishments to this. I don't know that I am ready to do extra embellishments in that way yet, so I probably won't go down that road. I just like doing the sleeves at this point in time, so we'll kind of see what that kind of ends up looking like. So that's where I am on that bad boy. The other one that I have been working on, I am pretty sure that I had this started last week. This is the Daphne Henley tee. And I don't know if you know what a Henley is, but it's kind of one of those tops that has the buttons right here, just a short row of buttons. And so this is going to be a tank top. And we're kind of starting here. My husband said, well, that looks like a bra. And it certainly kind of does at this point in time. So this is where the buttons are going to go right here. And then once it attaches, once I get a couple more rows done, then it just works in the round for the rest of the body. So that's how far I am with that. And I was working on it pretty gangbusters. I have a couple of other projects that I'm working on right now, so this one might slow down. I don't anticipate finishing this for at least a couple of weeks right now, and that's totally okay. It was just kind of one of those, I needed to pick something up in the moment and get that going. So that is the progress on the Daphne Henley tee, which is by Tinderbox Crochet. The yarn that I'm using for that is a Knit Picks gloss fingering, and that is made up of 70% merino wool and 30% silk. Now, I don't know that it feels that much like silk. I suppose it's a little bit nicer than a wool by itself, but it's not like, dreamy, silky kind of thing. So I don't know that I would buy it again for the purpose of the silk. I probably won't buy it again at all, to be honest with you. Unless they come out with some amazing colorways, then maybe. But I think there's a lot of other nice yarns that I like. And that, by the way, that gray is in the colorway Robot. Now, the one challenge that I have on that is I am not sure that I have enough of the Robot left. I had 4 skeins of it, and I kind of think this pattern takes 5 skeins. So I may have to substitute, and I haven't decided what, if I'm going to substitute or buy another skein. I'm waiting till I kind of get closer to the finish line and see how close I am, and then I might make a decision. So that decision is pending. And then the Granny Square blanket, have not made any additional progress since last week, so we will just move on to finished objects, which, girlfriend, no finished objects this week. they just did not happen. It was, well, I'll get more into that in the lifestyle section, but it didn't happen this week, and that's totally okay. However, if we get to the new chain-ons, and we do have a few things that we have started this week. The first one that I'm going to share with you, my fabulous assistant who works for my husband. Oh my gosh, this girl, I gotta tell you, she's flippin'. She is, she's a godsend. I'm not, yeah, she's just an amazing individual for my husband and I because she does so much for my husband's business, but then she also cleans our house. So my husband works from home. He has his own business. I did too for a long time, but his is still pretty active. And because we travel so much, we need somebody that's going to be around and answering phones and boxing up orders and doing all that shipping. So she works for us when we're not traveling. She works for us 2 days a week, Mondays and Fridays. And she comes in, she does all his orders, and she also cleans up our house for us on those 2 days. And then when we are traveling, she's here 5 days a week. So just amazing to have that kind of resource. I mean, she runs our business and she cleans the house. How can I go wrong with that? So she loves my crochet stuff. I've made her one of the bags. In fact, she was the one that kind of got me spurred on to doing that, and she loves it. And then I was telling her the other day that I just needed kind of a quick win project. She was, well, if you want to make me a set of coasters, I would totally pay for a set of coasters. And I got to thinking about it. I'm like, well, first of all, she doesn't need to pay me because she does so much already. And then I'm like, what? She and I, both have a love of plants. So she's always taking care of my plants, but we're taking care of them together. So she has a bunch of plants. In fact, her husband's a landscaper. And so it's plants, plants, plants. So I figured what better kind of coasters than one of these, it collapses into a plant. So here is the first one. The brown is supposed to be like the dirt, and then the green is leaves. And we live in Arizona, so they're succulents. And this was a scrap buster, so the green isn't like a really vibrant green. But when my husband's like, I don't get it, I don't understand it. So then you take it and you kind of fold it. And let me fold it with, well, I haven't woven the ends yet. But you fold it and then you kind of roll it, kind of like these flower blankets. So then when you have 3 or 4, well, 4 or 6, I guess, is kind of a coaster set. You put them in. You can certainly make your own pot out of crochet, and I might do that. Or I have this, what's it called? Terracotta plant that it has a crack in it, so it's not going to work for that. So I might just stick them all in there, and then you can kind of see it makes a cute little succulent plant, and it's just adorable. Then she has some coasters, and she takes them out and unrolls them, and there she has a little coaster plant. And I think they are in her house colors, so it'll be perfect. I am using scrap yarn for that, so a couple of yarns that I haven't figured out what else to do with them, one of which I'm not a big fan of because it attracts so much lint that I'm like, yeah, I can't do that for garments because it's too linty. And that's the brown, that's a sheep cheese. No, that's like an on Lenny, I don't know the brand. I can't pronounce. I've never seen it locally, so it's probably maybe a small craft store. Anyway, and the green is actually a sheep cheese, sheep. Yes, that. And this is in Secret Garden in Weeping Willow. So that I had a whole skein of scraps, so that should be enough to make those. And I will get that finished up this week and take a picture of it because I probably won't have it for next week. I will give that to her before then. So that was one thing I chained on. And the other is I started learning how to do mosaic. I've never done mosaic crochet. I've tried tapestry a few times, and I haven't taken enough time to really get decent at it. So it's been sort of a, this looks like crap, I don't want to keep doing it, and haven't had the patience to really stick with it. So then I thought I would try a little mosaic and see how they kind of compare. Now, tapestry, you're sort of crocheting over top of the other yarn and it kind of shows through. Mosaic you are too, but it's a very different technique. And mosaic overlay, which is what this is, versus mosaic inline or inset are also different types that give you almost the same look, but it's kind of fun to explore those different things. And there are some really beautiful pieces that are done with mosaic. So I really wanted to learn how to do that. And I think I might actually do some more practice and it might become one of my favorite types of crochet. And in fact, totally coincidental to me deciding, I actually decided to do this because I did the video on Tuesday, which I'll link down below and put up there, about the different types of crochet. And I'm like, I'm talking about this. Maybe I should give it a try. And so I did. And I really liked it. I have another one that I'm going to work on that's going to be a washcloth. But in that washcloth pattern, I signed up for the gal's website. And then within the same, really quick, I got an email about a mosaic. What is it called? It is a Mosaic Crochet Summit starting today as of this, when this video goes out. So Friday, August 17th. Is that right? 15th through the 17th. So this video goes out on the 15th and it runs for 3 days. So I signed up for that free summit. I presume if you're catching this right away, you can still sign up and get those classes. It is free. There are paid, upgrades that you can do as well. But overall, the initial part of that is free. So if you're interested in mosaic, I would highly encourage you to check that out. I have no affiliation, no experience with this particular individual. I have no idea if it's going to be a great summit, if I'm going to learn a ton, or if I take one little tiny nugget away. Who knows? But I'll let you know next week what I thought of it, so you can certainly check that out. So the pattern that I'm going to be working on is the Starburst washcloth, and it's by Juniper and Oaks. And I will be casting that. Well, I've actually cast it on, chained it on already. However, I frogged it back because I don't think I was doing it quite right. And in addition to that, I wanted to change up the colors that I was doing. So I'll have more to show you. If it's not finished by next week, I'll have at least gotten progress on it by next week. It's just a washcloth, so it shouldn't take me too long overall, but it'll be fun. All right, stash down update. Zeros across the board. I have not made any progress one way or the other. Haven't gone down, but I haven't increased. Well, I have, but it hasn't arrived yet. So we'll just go with I haven't increased. And I did have a couple of really interesting people. Well, the people aren't particularly interesting. The requests were interesting for some yarn on Ravelry, but neither one of those sales went through. So that stays the same. In the community this week, I did attend 2 different in-person crochet groups. So that was a lot of fun, getting to be in person. The challenge with that is you always have to bring a project that's fairly mindless. And I was really struggling to be at that point where I could have a project that was mindless, because most of the ones that I have right now required a lot more thinking than I really felt comfortable doing when I was actually trying to have a conversation with other people. So it's always interesting when you go to these groups because you want to make progress. You have some time to do that, but it needs to be progress on something that my mother-in-law calls it TV watching projects, ones that you can actually pay attention to the TV and still get things done on your crochet. So, great groups of women. I enjoyed getting together with them for sure. One of them was in Flagstaff, and if you remember from last week, I was supposed to go to Flagstaff and that trip got canceled because I wasn't feeling up to it. So we did go this past weekend, and it was what I expected. So it was great seeing the gals because I see them every week when they're down here for the winter months. And most of them go up to Flagstaff for the summer months because it's too freaking hot down here. I do not. Usually I'm on the road for the summer months, and we just happen to not be able to do that this summer. So it was great getting to see them. And I'm glad that we got out of the heat for a few days and enjoy the cool weather of the pines. Okay, let's talk about life and some of those crazy things that just happened. Now, if you remember, it was probably a month and a half or so ago, 6 or 8 weeks, I talked about my weight loss and that I was really excited because I had lost about 10 pounds. And literally right after I recorded that, something happened and my weight just went right back up. So I have regained about 4.5 of those pounds. And I've sort of been struggling mentally with getting back on that game ever since because it felt like such a slap in the face. Like, you're doing so good, you're doing so good. And nope, we're kidding. Just kidding. So, I don't know. I still have a goal of getting back down and really getting my overall health back in control. I've been having lots of aches and pains all over my body, so I've got to really work and focus on doing some cleansing and all of that good stuff. So I'm not done. It's just sort of a sad setback. And so I'm going to start using you guys as a little bit of accountability. And sorry if you don't want to hear these updates, but I'm just going to share where I am. And so right now, I weighed in this morning and I was at 139.2. So fingers crossed, I do better next week and get down a little bit. Yes. Okay. So I did talk about the Mosaic Crochet Summit. That's coming up next week. And then I also have a yarn haul coming in from Hobbii. Before I realized that Hobbii was doing what they were doing and could go do a little comparison shopping, I did buy some yarn from them. All of it was on sale, or almost all of it was on sale. So I still got the best price from Hobbii that I could, just not the best price for that yarn. But maybe it was shipping, since shipping was free because I got over the free threshold. So I think it might be a wash. We'll call it good. And I will share that yarn when that comes in for sure. All right, that is all I've got for today. I hope you enjoyed this. I do feel like overall things are rocking and rolling and grooving and jiving. So let me know what you think in the comments below. And I can't wait to hear from you. And maybe your comment will be featured on next week's video. Thanks so much. And hey, Farah, freaking get us out of here.